I immediately wanted to create a deep deficit of 600 to 1,000 calories, increasing my output while decreasing my food.
Who's gonna say it? Rather than a mini cut, I see it more as a mass extinction event. I mean, bro is starve maxing. Let's be honest, this is a crash diet on steroids. Nothing he does should be copied. You shouldn't be listening to this guy. Coach Greg, in today's video, Tristyn Lee needs our help. His last video, I lost 15 pounds in 3 weeks. This is exactly what I did. Does anyone think that Tristyn Lee needed to lose 15 pounds? I see no one saying this. Tristyn Lee, as you've seen in previous videos, is possibly the leanest influencer in the world. He's already shredded. He's already single-digit body fat. And so why on earth would he be going on what he calls a mini cut? Rather than a mini cut, I see it more as a mass extinction event. I mean, bro is starve maxing. Let's be honest, this is a crash diet on steroids. Nothing he does should be copied. You shouldn't be listening to this guy.
This was me at 176 pounds. And in 3 weeks, I dropped 15 pounds. That's called a mini cut, and I'm going to show you exactly how I did it. A mini cut is for when you've been pushing a bulk for a long time and you've got some extra fluff to get rid of.
Tristyn Lee isn't pushing a bulk for a long time, and even if he was, does he really need to go on a mini cut? I don't know why people think that in order to put on muscle, you need to bulk up and then cut and then bulk up and then cut. You can just main gain. And most certainly, he wasn't so fat that he needed a mini cut in order to reset himself, to recalibrate. Look at the thumbnail. I have no words. Have you ever seen anyone, let's include IFBB pro bodybuilders, as lean as Tristyn Lee in this thumbnail? And this is just a Tuesday. Literally. I'm recording this on Tuesday. He's that shredded, and for what? It's not healthy. It's going to limit his ability to put on more muscle. And even in this video, he describes that he has to end the cut because he can't recover as well. It's starting to take its toll.
Food was the biggest lever. And I didn't just slash my food and pray to the gods that the fat would come off. I was very particular about my food selection.
And so he says he didn't just slash his food, he was very particular. But overall, this is what he did. He went from eating 3,500 calories to 2,000 calories, all the while reducing his carbs substantially, reducing it to more than half, as well as reducing his fats, but upping his protein. 2,000 calories a day on its own, it doesn't sound like all that much. It's not a horribly low-calorie diet, but for Tristyn Lee, it is in fact a lot. And in addition to that, he also upped his steps. He went from doing 8,000 steps a day to 16,000 steps a day. That is double. And so if you reduce your calorie intake by 1,500 calories a day, and on top of that, you double the amount of steps you're taking, and you also add bike riding on top of that, all that amounts to a starvation diet. A starvation diet is when you consume far fewer calories than your body needs, and you end up not only just losing fat, but also losing muscle. Does anyone think he lost 15 pounds of fat in 3 weeks? That would work out to 5 pounds of fat a week. How is that mini? He didn't go on a mini cut. He went on a maxi cut, as in the maximum amount of weight he could lose.
My protein was at 1.2 grams per pound of body weight. My carbs got pulled all the way down from 550 all the way down to 250 on training days and 150 on non-training days.
And so there's nothing wrong with the foods he opted to eat. The problem is during a mini cut, you're not supposed to cut your calories this drastically. 1,500 calories a day alone, that is a lot, but in addition to adding in more cardio and more steps, the results are going to be you're going to have more energy, you're not going to be able to recover as well, and you're going to lose muscle. Just from the 1,500 calorie cut alone, just from that, without changing anything else, no more cardio, no more cycling, he would have lost 3 pounds of fat per week. Remember, 1% of your body weight, that should be considered a maximum. And what was his goal? 1.25. And so should he be cheering if he loses 8 pounds the first week when his goal is 1.25% of his body weight? That's approximately 2 pounds. And so if you, for example, you hire a coach, let's say it's Coach Greg, you click the link, you hire Coach Greg, and we set out a goal. We're going to try to lose 2 pounds of fat a week. If on the first week you lose 8 pounds, do you think I'm going to say, oh, congratulations, that's amazing. The diet is so much better than I expected? I'm not going to say that. I'm going to say, I'm so sorry that I cut your calories that low. Please check in more often. I would have added at least 1,000 calories a day to your diet because I don't want you to lose muscle. This is atrocious planning. Please forgive me. Perhaps I would give his money back because I don't want to coach people to lose all of their muscle. And so if Tristyn Lee had hired me and said, I want to go on a mini cut, I'd have reduced his calories by approximately 500. His 3,500 calories a day would have been 3,000 calories, not 2,000 calories. I don't want to starve him. After all, this is a mini cut. This is not, hey, I would want a diet for 12 weeks for this bodybuilding competition, but I got 3 weeks. They asked me to guest pose. It's an emergency. And I know I'm going to lose some muscle in the process, but I accept this. If that were the case, well, by all means, you do what you got to do. But to just reset himself because he was on a bulk, this makes no sense. What I personally think is this is a sign of body dysmorphia. He was previously bulking. Remember, I tested him. I think it was at 3.7%. It was ridiculous. I couldn't believe what I was seeing. You saw the hamstrings, the quads, everything was more shredded than last time. After that, he went on a bulk. Started adding in more calories. Perhaps he upped his calories from 2,500 to 3,500, and he started to put on a few pounds of body fat. Rather than being 3.7%, perhaps he got up to 7. And at that point, he's thinking, well, I can't have this. I'm almost double-digit body fat, and so I need to starve max to get this fat off. After all, how can I walk around with more body fat than an IFBB pro on stage? I can't have that. Tristyn Lee, I don't think that this is healthy.
And although I'm not usually a stim junkie, I did have 200 to 400 milligrams of caffeine per day to help with my appetite suppression.
200 to 400 milligrams of caffeine a day. This is perfectly normal. This is within reason year round. The potatoes, that adds more volume. It's going to make you more satiated. The choice of nutrients that he gets from his foods. All of this is amazing. The only problem is it's not enough of it. What he could have done is changed nothing of his diet. He continues to eat 3,500 calories a day. But he adds in the extra bike riding. He adds in the doubling of the steps. And that is more than enough.
And that's the mistake that most people make. Instead of pulling 2 levers, they try to pull 1.
This is not a mistake. This is what I would recommend. Why are we both reducing calories and increasing output at the same time? I mean, are we not just on a mini cut? We're trying to do the least to get the most. Why would you starve yourself for 3 weeks in order to lose 15 pounds? Is that not a sign that you made a mistake? Now, remember, I do believe that he's being coached by Renaissance Pédération. Why are they doing this? Like, if the plan is 1.25% and you're losing like 3, 4, 5% of your weight a week, why not make a change? None of this makes sense.
I immediately wanted to create a deep deficit of 600 to 1,000 calories. And so increasing my output while decreasing my food made that a lot more manageable.
Who's going to say it? 600 to 1,000 calorie deficit, he would lose approximately 1.6 pounds of fat a week. That's approximately 1% of his body weight, roughly right at the maximum of what I would recommend. And so I think that is fair. But remember, he reduces calories by 1,500. He was eating 3,500 calories a day, and now he's eating 2,000. The math doesn't check out. It's Tristyn Lee. Where's the problem? I mean, this is basic math. In actuality, he most likely had a 2,000 or more calorie deficit each and every day, which translates into probably around a 4-pound body fat drop each and every week. Problem is, he's not going to lose 4 pounds of body fat because his body is going to prioritize losing some of the muscle. It doesn't have that much body fat to lose, and so it starts to lose muscle.
I went from doing 0 cardio, as you could probably tell, to doing 3 low-intensity steady-state cardio sessions on the bike per week.
Why would he be doing 0 cardio? What makes more sense? To do year-round 150 minutes of zone 2 cardio a week, or to do nothing for a certain period of time and then do double for 3 weeks? What makes more sense? Have you ever heard of something called progressive overload or harder than last time? Tristyn Lee is about 20 years of age. He used to be a gifted athlete in soccer. He's probably still gifted. And I do believe he has above average levels of fitness. And so how is walking cardio? It is not. I don't care how you define it. I'm saying how it should be defined. Cardio is something that improves your fitness. If it makes it worse, It shouldn't be called cardio. And so imagine I watch Tristyn's video and I start copying what I'm learning. I'd go for 3 20-minute bike rides a week and I go for 16,000 steps a day. My fitness is here right now, and by the end of it, it's going to be down there. Why? Because how is going for walks going to improve my fitness? How does that follow progressive overload? It does not. It follows a crash deload. I go from racing bikes about 10 hours a week. For example, I rode an hour and 40 minutes this morning. I had a race, didn't do all that well. I got 7th, whatever. How would it be beneficial for me to go for a walk? I mean, my father goes for walks. He had a heart attack 3 years ago. He's almost 80 years of age. Walking for him, it's all right. He's getting old. But for you, you're young, you're fit, you're healthy. Going for a walk, although it burns some calories, it's not improving your fitness. And so don't count it as some form of cardio. Oh, what did you do for cardio? I go for 30-minute walks every day. I don't give a shit.
So if you're the cardio junkie that loves getting on the Stairmaster or the bike, just make sure that it's not eating away at your recovery, leading to you just losing muscle tissue.
And so he points out, if you're a cardio junkie, going on a stepper or a bike or treadmill, then make sure you don't do too much to lose your gains. Coming from a guy who lowers his calories from 3,500 to 2,000 and ups his steps to 16,000 steps. That is a lot. Why would you do that many steps? There's no added benefit to this. You think it's more beneficial to do 16,000 steps than 12,000 steps? After a while, it's just too much. I'm going to call this junk volume. All you're doing is burning off more calories, burning off all the potatoes, all the food that you're eating. And so why would you do that? You're taking away all those nutrients. And so if you want to actually improve recovery, build more muscle, train harder than the gym, aside from taking, of course, Turk Platinum, as well as GO2 Max, you need to take in some carbs. Guys, when I go for a bike race, aside from adding in Perrylite, I'm actually adding in some sugar. You need the energy, the carbs, to fuel that workout. And if you're not eating enough, you're just going to be running on fumes, feeling like shit, and not able to push yourself. Trust me, I've done 59 competitions. Now, Tristyn Lee has done a zero competitions, but essentially there's no difference between what he's doing right here and being an IFBB pro. His diet is just as strict or more than many of your IFBB pros.
A mini cut is not meant to be an extended diet phase. It's a short period to set yourself up so that you can build more muscle in the long run.
Doing a mini cut for 3 weeks doesn't set yourself up for more muscle gains in the future. It doesn't do that. There's no magic to this. Don't think, okay, I'm watching a Tristyn Lee video, or perhaps you're watching my Coach Greg video right now, and you're thinking, you know what? I really want to put on more muscle. My goal is to put on 4 or 5 pounds of muscle for next year. I should go on a cut right now, because if I go on a cut, I'll build more muscle long run. No, you won't. Keep eating, especially if you're already at single-digit body fat. If you're at single-digit body fat, let's call it 8, and you diet down to, let's call it 5, and then you bulk up to 8. You will put on less overall muscle than if you stay at 8 the whole time, or possibly even if you go up to 10 and main gain from there. Perhaps you're at 12% body fat. That's already elite. Not many men are even capable of maintaining 12% body fat. Maybe for you that's too low. And how do you know? If you go to the gym and you can't get a pump, you don't feel recovered, you don't have that same drive, that energy to push yourself in the gym, then try eating a little bit more. Go up to 13%, see how that works. Perhaps that's your percentage. We all have a genetic set point of where we function at best. Perhaps for you, it's between 12 and 18%. For somebody else, maybe it's between 15 and 20%. And for some fortunate people, perhaps it's between 7 and 11%. But whatever that is, you'll only know if you try. Once you go on a diet, you start to cut and you feel your performance drop even a little. It's too much. You need to stop. Now, there are exceptions. You're trying to make weight for a UFC competition, you're a power lifter, you're a bodybuilding competition, or you have a photo shoot, guest posing. I get it. You have to suffer, you have to do the thing for a brief moment in time, but then the diet's over and you then regain the weight. But rather than going on a 3-week mini cut, or as Tristyn Lee did, a bodyweight liquidation sale, you gotta just eat. Don't try to copy this. This is not healthy. This is not good. We need to offer a healthier, better image for the fitness industry, and trying to maintain 3.7% it's not it.
At the 3-week mark, I started to notice some signs of my sleep suffering and my recovery not being quite as good as usual. And so at that point, I made the decision to go back into a maintenance, take my 15 pounds, which I was already happy with, and then eventually get back into a surplus.
In the end, he had to cut his cut early because he was already satisfied with the 15 pounds. I mean, he only wanted to lose about 7. And so, of course, he's going to be satisfied with 15. And it was starting to hurt his sleep as well as recovery. Now, we don't have his testosterone levels. I mean, if he had measured them, I most certainly believe they would have been in the toilet. And for that, of course, I would recommend G-Test Platinum. And if he had only used Turk Platinum during this experiment, he would have had more energy, more drive, more recovery. And he would have been able to consume significantly more calories and continue to look leaner than last time. And that is what it's all about. And so even if he wanted to lose 15 pounds, let's say that was his goal, rather than doing a mini cut for 3 weeks, he should have extended it, should have been at least, let's call it double that, 6 weeks, preferably even more, so that he was able to lose mostly fat and not lose all that muscle. And so there you have it. If you want to be sponsored by HDLT Supplements, click the link. You want to be coached myself, click the link. You want to carry the supplements in your stores and or gym, you click the link. Subscribe, click the bell button, comment to boost the algorithm. And remember, click the link to visit Algorex if you want to get your blood work done, or perhaps you need enclomiphene or a GLP to help you lose weight, or various things for your hair. For example, finasteride, dutasteride, the list goes on and on. All the peptides, all above board, all from compounding pharmacies, prescribed by actual doctors at a fraction of the price of, for example, Merrick Health. And so please do your due diligence, compare the prices, and realize that this is not from some research chemical site. Everything 100% above board. Code Greg, 10% off. And until next time, I am out.